So it's been confirmed today. Gavin Newsom is going to be recalled. There will be an election this fall, early winter, sometime like that. The date hasn't been hashed out, but it's official. They got the numbers. The Secretary of State of California has confirmed that there are enough legal signatures to go ahead with this one. And this article right here by, who's this again? California Matters. It's pretty decent because it's also missing a little bit of key information, which I'll fill in for you. It compares and contrasts the previous recall that happened, the most recent recall of a governor. It happened also in California, 2003. Governor Gray Davis in 2003 got successfully recalled, and he was replaced by the man who you cannot see, but he's just to my right here, the beginning of the governorship for the governator himself. Yes, we went from a deeply blue governor in California to a, I don't know, pink Republican. Listen, like I parsed out before in the previous video, actors are great, okay? They perform a specific task, and when they're good at it, it's amazing to watch. A few performances in that film just over my right shoulder as well. And if they have something intelligent to say on a specific topic, I welcome it because, of course, anybody reasonable would. But if you're just going to spout idiotic talking points like that guy has just not that long ago and for the past 5-ish years, it's best to keep it to yourself. And you know what? Arnold could have been really good. He tried to work with both sides, but realized that the swamp runs deep in California and ended up just shooting himself in the foot and not really accomplishing a lot from 2004 onward. Sucks to suck, I guess. But what do we got? Governor Gavin Newsom is fighting for his political life. He's working to fend off a recall that began as a far-fetched effort by Republican activists. Really? I don't think so. I think it was pretty popular at the time. Still is. A recall petition doesn't say a word about the pandemic, nor should it. It's just his overall performance has been dreadful. It was written before the virus upended normal life, but it gained a surge of signatures after news broke in November that a maskless Newsom joined lobbyists. This was just the latest in a long string of bad behaviors by Newsom, but after he went to French Laundry restaurant with just 50 of my closest friends, and they worked really hard on this birthday party. So, I mean, come on, what would you do in the given situation? Remember, don't go outside or you're going to get fined. So a little bit of preamble out of the way. How do recalls work? Now that one's been successful, might as well go over the preliminary measures. California is one of 19 states to allow voters to remove state officials before the end of the term. No reason is necessary. The only requirement to put a recall on the ballot is enough voter signatures. Election officials announced on April 26 that the recall campaign submitted 1,626,042 valid signatures, enough to qualify for the ballot. State officials must complete a few steps to finalize the process, and then an election will be held later this year. Voters will be asked 2 questions. Do they want to recall Newsom? Yes or no? Well, looks like several of them did. And if more than 50% of voters said yes, who should replace him? Well, we got a couple of, candidates you can call it. We already talked about Caitlyn Jenner yesterday. Or was that Saturday? It doesn't matter. That is running. Still away from the responsibility of killing that man by running him over, but that is neither here nor there. So what's going to happen with this election that's going to be happening later this year? There's no limit to the number of candidates who can run to replace an official on a recall ballot, so it's going to be a total shotgun situation. That's why, if you guys are, old enough to remember this as well, I was 13 at the time when this was happening, and there was so much hubbub about this, and there were fucking a few dozen people trying to run for office, and this could get goofy. It could get goofy. And whoever gets the most votes wins, even without a majority. So it's just, whoever pulls ahead. So it's entirely possible that someone could be elected in a recall while winning less than half the votes. Yes, I know that. Clutch your pearls, Democrats. That's what happened in 2003 when then Governor Gray Davis was recalled by 55% of voters. More than 100 people ran to replace him, carving up the votes and allow action movie star to win with 48.6% of support. Let's not underplay that, okay? Like I said, there was a ton of people running. Most of them were just kind of jokes, like Gary Coleman, fucking porn star Mary Carey. My goodness, I couldn't even remember the rest of them. Gray Davis was running too, but Arnold still pulled out 48.6%. because the name Schwarzenegger was still very, very big, and especially in California. And this was when Hollywood actually still had credibility. Schwarzenegger had at least proved that he was a smart dude. Moved over from Austria, built himself up with significant help from Joe Weider, and off the back of 5 Mr. Olympia victories, 2 Mr. Universe titles, parlayed that into a very successful movie career, and then also became a major philanthropist, business owner, and all-around likable dude. Now, unfortunately, he's tore that all down, but once again, a story for another time. So now where are we at, okay? So the Secretary of State for California said that, yep, there's enough valid signatures here. It's over the 1.498, just about 1.5 million signatures that are required. It's all good to go. Now they just got to verify signatures. Aha, a little bit of a devious technique if it's used by one party, but it's just security if they're the other ones. And then they'll, of course, petition signees to make sure that they still definitely and could not be convinced otherwise to keep their name on the petition. Determine the cost of the recall. It doesn't matter. People will be around to make sure that this goes through afterwards. Set a date for the election. And this is what I want to know. At this point, the recall finally becomes official when Secretary of State Shirley Weber certifies that there are enough valid signatures to trigger a recall, and Lieutenant Governor Elaine Koulianakis calls an election. The election must be 60 to 80 days from the date the Secretary of State certified the signatures. All right. California Target Book estimates that the certification will be around the September 17th. Interesting. That should coincide nicely with the redistricting from the United States Census. Weird how the first video and the third video wraps around. I wasn't anticipating that, but it's nice to see. And then an election will probably be around standard election time, mid to late November. Then, of course, more candidates will hop in, and we got to talk about who's going to be there as well. Let's see what's going to happen with the Democrats, because that's the interesting part. It's a far bit less depressing than what's happening with the current crop of Republicans that are out there, but take what you can get, I suppose. For months, Newsom's deflected reporters' questions about the recall, saying simply that he's focused on his job as governor and where he can eat a dinner, working to improve vaccine distribution, reopen schools, and help small businesses. Yeah, it's tough because nobody else has reopened schools or helped small businesses or rolled out the vaccine in a comparable state or two. No, nobody else has done that. Changed in early March, Newsom used his unusual State of the State speech to lob a high-profile attack on his opponents, and then a few days later launched an official campaign to fight the recall. So yeah, he's very much going to be a part of this. He promptly made the rounds on national television as California and national Democrats closed ranks to support him. Newsom's strategy in the state that twice resoundingly rejected former President Donald Trump's Unite Democrats by portraying the recall as a fringy MAGA-inspired movement full on QAnon conspiracy theorists and anti-vaxxers. I remember that. That's funny. Remember, guys, Orange Man is gone. That dictator who would never leave, yeah, he got voted out of office. He's gone. Nothing we could do. So this is where this article here, and this is probably the propaganda that's going out throughout all of California right now, is, okay, if Newsom's been recalled, his support, what I've been hearing, oh my God, it's still there. Like, just look at this beautiful little graph here. It tells you that in comparison to Gray Davis in 2003, like, oh my God, he was good, and then, oh my God, he wasn't. He was terrible. At the end, he was 26%, even though he was lower just after the recall petition came around to 21%, and then peaked up to 26%. But if you take a look at Gavin Newsom, like, the dude is 63% before even the recall campaign came around, after he locked down his state for like 8-9 months with no reprieve whatsoever. Even during the summer months, he was shooing people off the beach because that's science, I guess. But then even like right now, he's still 50% approval rating. Like, normally you wouldn't recall somebody that popular, but something strikes me as a little bit off. Okay, that number is from January 26th with an approval rating of 52%. It's tough to say where those numbers come from. Actually, it's from the Public Policy Institute of California, and I did some double checking on them, and that right there is a leftist hug box of a website that just pushes crazy radical ideas. Like, we can just take a look. Like, this is the site that the link leads to. information accurate up to September 2020. Like the topics that they talk about: climate change, criminal justice, economy, fiscal, governance, reform. Trending topics are COVID, 2020 census, immigration, poverty, inequality, sorry. Not necessarily an unbiased source, but they can do whatever they want. It's California, after all. That number doesn't seem right, and that's also from several months ago at this point. But what is this real numbers? Okay, this is the most recent one that I could find. It's from the beginning of February. And Gavin Newsom's approval rating, even at the beginning of February, was 31%. Far cry from that 52 that they were trying to peddle there. A new poll conducted by the University of California, Berkeley's Institute of Governmental Studies. Yes, it's from the U of C's Berkeley campus. Not friendly to anybody right of Stalin. So you got to take this one at least at face value. Found that Governor Gavin Newsom's job approval rating plummeted by 18 percentage points in 3 months. In October, he had a 49% approval rating. But according to this one, in November, he was 57%. Weird. Something seems a little bit off. In January, it dropped to 31%. Also, 36% of respondents said that they support the recall effort against Newsom, which has gained popularity among Democrats. No. This is a far-right conspiracy by MAGA supporters, QAnoners, anti-vaxxers, and conspiracy theorists, right? That's why over 1.6 million people signed on for it. I think that there is a significant silent majority in California, outside of your big population centers like Los Angeles, Silicon Valley. People that look around and see the decay from the California that they grew up in know to what it is right now. Do I think that it's enough to flip the seat? I don't know. I think that we're probably down this slide a little bit too far, and California would have to go through something traumatic like an actual bankruptcy in order for it to really do anything. It's on this trajectory to actually beat Illinois into bankruptcy, but who knows? I don't know. It's tough to predict these things. And as you can see right now, the killer's row running against Gavin Newsom. At least at this point, now that everything's official, you got the likes of Caitlyn Jenner, reality television personality and former Olympic athlete, very former. But what discipline does she practice in? Has launched a campaign. John Cox, the Republican businessman who lost to Newsom in 2018. Cool. Kevin Faulconer, the Republican former mayor of San Diego. Right now, probably the front runner of this dilapidated group. And Doug Ose, a GOP former congressman from Sacramento area, have said that they're all in. And then probably the strongest, or at least most recognizable name, Rick Grinnell, has tipped his hand that he might run at it. But now that it's official, it'll be interesting to see who pops in on this one. Because like it says down there, 135 people threw their name in the ring. Obviously, most of these were just jokes like, Gary Coleman, Larry Flint, Mary Carey. Yeah, I was just going off the top of my head what I could remember. So yeah, we'll probably get something pretty close to that, because especially with Hollywood mostly closed down, some of these entitled celebrities are going to think that they're going to need a little bit of an ego boost. So I would imagine there's going to be a couple of actors throwing their name in the ring in this one. And it's sad that it needs to happen to such a tremendous state like California, where you got this circus going around, but them be the breaks. You just got to cover what I see here, so. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.